Geraint Davies MP Swansea West conference, as the bombs rained down on the Ukraine, let's remember those bombs were paid for by oil and gas from Russia bought by the West. And also, let's remember when the Uyghurs are being oppressed or democracies being destroyed in Hong Kong, that's being paid for by manufactured products made by coal-fired power stations. And also, let's remember that 6% of the world's gross domestic product goes on fossil fuel subsidies. And that's why for every second of this conference, 8.5 tons of ice is melting in Greenland. And that's why I think we need a carbon border tax that I'm putting forward in the Council of Europe, supported by the EU, which would mean that instead of Chinese steel coming into Wales with twice the carbon footprint undercutting our Welsh steel, they'd have to pay for that carbon, so we would create jobs in Wales and in Britain. That's why we need a tidal lagoon in Swansea. The Tories said no, they wouldn't provide the money, yet our Labour Council is going ahead anyway with Blue Eden and delivering that lagoon alongside the Welsh Government, because they can see that the price of energy is going up, and obviously it's inflating more in Ukraine. We also need a £4.6 billion share of HS2. If we had the same share as Scotland, we'd have nearly £5 billion to accelerate towards net zero. Yet despite having thousands of miles of electrified rail track in England, we've got 22 miles in Wales. We have 1.5% of the investment for 5% of the money. This is criminal, unfair, and we need our fair share. We need to use that money, yes, to invest in a rail system, as Asaf has said, but also in remaining renewables, organic batteries, so that we can store that. We need to encourage England to have onshore wind, as we do in Wales, rather than just have land for sort of grouse shooting, whatever they do. We need World Health Organization air quality standards to protect our children, our population, and to reach our climate targets. And we need a moratorium on incineration, which is what Julie James has delivered in Wales. We need that in England. So well done, Julie, and well done for the Welsh Government for pulling together energy, transport, housing, planning into one holistic vision for a sustainable Wales. That's what we need in England as well. So in a nutshell, we need the money from Westminster for Wales and for the UK to transform the future. We have shown here what Labour can do in practice and showcase what a UK government would do for the UK in terms of greening our economy, saving our planet and defending our democracy. Diolch yn fawr iawn.